The most from 1970, that's when the precision team was formed, which I was on, big shipping magnate from Taiwan. He invented the precision system, strong club system. It was very basic, his concept. The Taiwanese team played in the Bermuda Bowl in '69 and got to the final.
At the Las Vegas Nationals, it's 2024, the Fall Nationals, and I'm here with Peter Weischel and Jim Krikorian. We're trying to get some bridge stories. And Peter, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how long have you been playing bridge now?
Too long to admit to, but I took up bridge in Queens College in New York in '63 or so. I got really interested, started playing in the bridge clubs in Queens and Great Neck, played a lot of bridge, and I totally enthused with the game. I lost interest in college, majored in bridge, and then I played around New York for a year or so, and then the military came after me because I had...
It was Vietnam War at that?
The Vietnam War was just coming around, and I was going to be drafted into the Army because I dropped out of college, and I didn't want that. I enrolled in the Navy to avoid spending a couple of years. I was just an enlisted type guy. I was playing a lot of bridge, and there were tournaments always on the weekends. In the Naval Reserves, the plan was you had to attend meetings and then ultimately do 6 months of active duty, and then presumably they'd let you go after that, even though you were supposed to follow through with more meetings and all of that, but that was unlikely. But I was playing too much bridge and I missed some meetings, and they...
Did you get enlisted then?
They activated me, to my horror. I hadn't read the fine print exactly.
So bridge is a little addictive, that you might not do some things in your best
Oh yeah,
interest.
no, I was totally enthralled with bridge. I loved the game. But it activated me how I was going to do 21 months, 2 years of active duty, and that was horrifying. I really got interested in bridge in college, and I just started playing locally. Actually was sort of hired to play bridge almost from the beginning. Ultimately, I played around New York a great deal, and then a Chinese fella, his name is C.C. Wei, and he had a system called Precision that he wanted to develop in the United States. So he hired 5 young bridge players. Actually, one was not so young, but 4 of us were quite young, and we had some incredible camaraderie. We had youth and vigor on our side, and just a team spirit, and we did amazing. The precision team broke up in '73, and by then there were 6 of us on the team, and only 2 of us, Alan Sontag and myself, were dedicated to being full-time bridge professionals. Sontag and I became partners, and we formed arguably the best partnership in the world in the '70s and into the early '80s. It's all about winning. I mean, that's what we're all about.
You started playing in '62. Jim, when did you start playing?
I think around '71.
He's quite a bit younger.
Like I was before, I was involved with a fraternity, and everybody played spades and poker and hearts. And one guy said, "Let's play bridge," and then so that was pretty good. And then all of a sudden we figured out that there was a duplicate club, and we went there once, and we were hooked, pretty much.
You gave up college. You got enlisted.
It was the worst time of my life. I had to go to
Sorry.
Great Lakes Naval Training Center, which is right on Lake Michigan, in the dead of winter. It was, the wind chill factor was like minus 50, minus 60, and they tortured you.
Yeah, no.
Basic training is like the worst thing you
camp.
could ever think of, and they're so sadistic, and they break you down. They don't want you to have any free will. They just take away all your willpower.
That does not sound very fun for a bridge player.
It's not fine for a living human being.
No, but most bridge players are pretty type A. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is all in my book. The book is a good read. Everyone who's read it enjoyed it a lot. It talks early on about my naval experience and how I suffered in basic training. And it was a lot because of my friend Gus Ballas, who I met on the airplane ride from New York to Chicago. And we wound up in the same battalion. We would commiserate with one another every night. And how are we going to possibly get through this?
You found a buddy. You found a partner.
I helped him, he helped me. I don't know if I would have made it without him.
You remained friends your whole life?
I never saw him again after basic training. That was like the first couple of months of '65. At the National in Providence, not this recent one, my niece, Amy, who lives in Larchmont, New York, she came to visit me. I'm very close with her. She's terrific. I've talked about my naval experiences and things, and she said, "Whatever happened to Gus?" And I said, "I have no idea, never saw him." And she said, "I'm going to look him up." And incredibly, he lives in Poway, which is Poway, California, 12 miles from me in La Costa. And I called him, and we got together. After 50 years,
Wow.
we got together. We had lunch and had a great time. And I haven't seen or talked to him again. It was great to see him, but I think he wasn't that into it as much as I was. I was excited to see him, but he's not in shape at all.
And you look very Southern California and very in shape.
Yeah, I work hard to stay in shape, and I have a feeling that wasn't the greatest thing for him, to be out of shape and to see me in really good shape.
Well, but this is the thing, is you've been playing high-level bridge now for how many years, Peter?
The most from 1970, that's when the precision team was formed, which I was on.
Tell us a little bit about the formation of the precision team.
Big shipping magnate from Taiwan. He invented the precision system, strong club system. It was very basic, his concept. The Taiwanese team played in the Bermuda Bowl in '69 and got to the final. Incredibly, nobody ever heard of any of them.
And they were playing the system.
They were playing the system.
Did people not understand how to defend
Strong
against
club
it?
systems were not really that in vogue at that time. I think they beat the Aces to get to the final. And he moved to New York with Kathy Way, his wife, and they lived in Manhattan. He wanted to promote his system. He hired a bunch of young players from New York.
Who were they?
The initial group were myself, Steve Altman, who was considered very good at the time, and Tom Smith, who worked for the acbl for years, Joel Stewart, who ran a bridge club in New York, I advised them that if they want someone who isn't really well known but quite a good player, they should get Joel. And Dave Strasberg, who was a little older than the rest of us, and he was a bridge pro around the New York area. And he didn't want to spend money for a sixth player, which you should always have in a national event.
Yes.
So we had to play five-handed. So Altman and myself, we anchored the team. We had to play every single board. I played some with Tom Smith and some with Joel Stewart. He played some with Joel and some with Strasburg. And our first national, we went to Boston, summer of 1970. And no one really knew much about us outside of the New York area. We won a few matches and got to the round of 16.